Hey, it's Steven. Welcome to Oak Haven Homestead. And today, we're going to build and install a garden fence gate. Stay tuned. Man, don't we all wish we could build things that easy? You just throw this stuff together and boom, you magically have whatever you're trying to build appear. I don't think building would be as fun though if that was really the case. But today, we're going to build and install a gate, an entrance gate here for our garden fence that we recently got completed. And one thing we're going to do with this gate is we want it to look similar to our panels. So where we have our post, but we have the facing of the wood with the wire, and behind it, we're going to do a similar setup with our gate. Now the opening in between the gate here is 51 inches, 51 and almost a quarter inches. Typically when I build my gates, I like to leave a 1/2 inch gap on either side. So the height of the gate will be the same, which is 39 inches from the bottom of our 2x4 here to the top of the 2x4 here. We'll be hinged on this side, and then we'll have a gate latch here to keep the gate locked. So we keep our little chickens out, and let's go here and start putting it together. All right, well, here we are. We got all of our pieces pre-cut. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a frame here for what I'm gonna call the inside portion of the gate. And then essentially what we'll do for the outside portion of the gate is we'll have our facing boards on like this. And then I'll have our boards in there like this. That gives us the lip we need on the inside to put the wire in. That way it matches the current fence that we have built here. You don't have to do this. There are many different ways that you can build these gates, a much more simplistic way. But I kind of like things to look the same. So this is how we're going to put it together today. What we've done is for our height, which is 39 inches top to top, so the outside portion of the gate, we cut these boards 39 inches on that end. And for the 50 inches on the inside, we're a little less than 47 inches on the top two pieces here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and screw these together. All right, now we're going to square this up. So you can use speed square. I have a 12-inch speed square. I have a drywall square. I have plastic metal squares. Most of the time you find the lumber that you buy, even your local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, it's junk. I mean, it's really not the quality of wood that we were used to seeing 20 and 30 years ago. So most of the times these boards aren't going to be true straight. So when you use a square, a lot of times it can give you a false reading, especially if a board has a bit of a bow to it. So I like to measure diagonally, corner to corner, and ensure that I have the same measurement. So I'm 63 3/4 this way. And then I'm 63 1/4 here. So I have to take this and rack it this way. Let's rack it that direction and then kind of see. So I know that I'm trying to get 63 1/2. So I'm almost there. Whoop. 63 1/2. Oh, there we go. So now I'm square, side to side. So even though my post may not be true level, and I could have some bow or gaps, well, chicken got in the garden. Chicken got in the garden. We gotta hurry up and get this gate installed. So anyhow, 63.5 corner to corner, diagonally, that's the best way to square any structure where you're able to, you know, diagonally pull measurements corner to corner when you're building a small shed, an addition in your shop, whatever you might be doing. That's the best way to get square, in my opinion, when it comes to building stuff, to ensure that you can, you know, you get the best squared structure possible. Even for a garden fence, you're going to have sag. It may not always be, or a garden fence gate, it may not always stay that way, but at least when you put it together, you know that it was true. So now we're going to add this top piece, and the reason that I've done the boards the way that I cut them is here, so to help maintain the square. So I'm going to have these boards flush on this end, but I'm going to put screws here on the long side, and then I'll put some down across what'll be the top, and on this side to kind of help with it's not racking. That'll give it a little bit more support. I may still come back in here and put some 45 or some type of bracing. Still haven't decided if I'm going to do a diagonal brace across it after we put the fence in. We'll just kind of see what the sag looks like once we install it. Check my measurements now that I have the top piece on. I got my corners lined up, and I go across 63.5. Whoop. Put together. 63.5. 63.5. So I'm still good there. All right, so we're gonna get this piece screwed on. We're gonna put these pieces in here. Gotta do a little trim to them. So we will come back here and we'll have this all done. All right, so we have what I guess we'll call a shadow box gate here. Got pieces screwed on, and then we're gonna put that fencing on here. Before we do that though, I'm gonna router the outer edges of this. I won't do it on the inside. On the outside, just make it look a little bit nicer. I know you really can't tell it. We did router the edges on all our 2x4s and everything. On the fence, it's not something you have to do, especially if you don't have one of these routers. This here is just a 3/4 horsepower router. I actually get my router bits from Harbor Freight. They're cheap, and they do what we need to do here around the Homestead. I'm not a professional carpenter or cabinetry builder, so I'm not going to spend a lot of money on tools of that nature. But, and there we go, we get a nice routed edge. Now I will say, please don't do like I do and not wear safety glasses. I need to get better at that. When you do operate hand tools of that nature, you should wear safety glasses. You should wear earplugs, so you're not always saying, huh, to everybody. I do that to my wife a lot. She says it's on purpose, and I tend to agree. So with that, we're gonna go get our metal fence wire, and we'll put that on. So, and then we'll get ready to install the gate. All right, so we got our wire. What we're gonna do is flip our, I'll call it the shadow box gate design we have here, and wire. Whoop. Oh, here we go. Gotta cut this piece off. We got us a good, nice, tight fit. Rolling this out. So what we're gonna do here is we'll kind of pull it this way. I use this as a guide just to kind of measure to see where I have to cut. And looks like we'll be cutting this wire specifically right here. Now if you want to measure it, you can with the tape measure, roll it out and cut it. Doesn't really matter, as long as you get that piece in there. Now, if you don't get these measurements exact, which we ended up doing a really good job of, and I even have to say it was probably a little bit on accident, then the wire could be too small. But for this particular project, it actually is going to fit in really, really nice in there. Actually, I'm going to have to cut this one off. So I'm going to cut an extra piece off of that. Well, no editing for this video. We are actually filming as we go along. So we're not recording any or re-recording anything that we might screw up. And believe you me, we learned here on the Homestead, you're always going to mess something up. So it's part of it. Just learn and not make that mistake again the next time. So let's see. Yep. All right. So let me get my fender washers. Installing this, we use 1¼ inch exterior deck screws. And then I use these fender washers. So you can get these at your local hardware store. But we use these little fender washers here to hold the wire in place. So I always like to put it in a corner joint. So like I'll install one here, and that'll kind of put it in there. And usually I'll put it in a bit of an angle on both sides so it kind of pulls on it. And it'll give you a little bit of tension to keep your wire nice and tight so it doesn't have a real wavy look. Now the longer pieces, like when we done on our fence at 8 feet, it's kind of hard to eliminate that, but it's a little bit easier on the smaller pieces. And the cool thing about these screws, they always come with the right bits. Now I always like to do the ends before I do the centerpiece, because I'll do the same thing. So I'll put my screws in at an angle to draw some tension on the wire as we install that piece in. Always kind of make sure that your wire is tucked in. There we go, in that little crevice, especially here. And there we have it. So you might have a little bit of bow in there. I got to get a couple more fender washers. I'm too short for the bottom. But here is our gate. I know it's kind of a massive gate, but again, we wanted it to match the fence and how we had it structured. So, and it's not too heavy as far as weight goes. We have some 8-inch hinges that we'll put it on with there. So, all right, well, next stop is we're gonna head out there and install it. All right, so we got our gate here positioned in place. So when I install gates, I like to shim them off, especially smaller gates. So typically what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna have me a board on this side. Let's take this here. We'll kind of shim it up that way. And then on this side, we'll do the same thing. So for this side, actually, now the hinges go on this side here. So anytime I install a gate, I always install it where the non-hinge side's a little bit higher than the hinge side. That way, when you load the gate, you're gonna have some sag naturally, just from the looseness of the hinge. The hinges, your clearances within the hinge are gonna cause some sag. So I always like to kind of install this side a little bit higher. So when I shim this here, I have this board, it's pretty level with the bottom on this side, and then over here on this side, we're a little bit higher. So that should be enough for us to compensate for the amount of sag that'll happen when we load the hinges. So let's grab this here and we'll set it in place. All right. Yeah, you got it flushed up that way. Good, so see, we're a little high on this side. Actually, probably a little bit too high. This side, a little bit too high here. So we're gonna, so pick that side up and let me adjust it. All right. Still a little bit high. All right, pick it up. Let's take it. Take it that way. All right. That good? Yeah, that's good. Good. I think we're good there. Okay, and then on this side, we'll do the same thing. So come over here. I want to take this down a little bit because it is just a hair too high. We'll take, all right, right there. Nope, that's too much. Let's come back. All right. Just a little bit higher. Right there. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, so we got our hinges. So we use these 8-inch extra heavy T hinges for this project. We just get them at our local hardware store. That'll install in this direction. So what we'll do is we'll have the hinge install here, like so. Okay, all right, so what we're gonna do, we'll do the same thing here. Where's my screws? Oh, I don't have the right bit. I don't have the right bit for my impact driver, so we'll be right back. All right, so we got the right bit for our screws. These hinges use Phillips head, and all I had was Torx head like our exterior deck screws are. So when I set the hinge, for me, I like to have the pins of the hinge in the gap this way, so I like to split it that direction. And then I'll put the screws on the hinge this way, so I make sure that my wood contacts all of the holes here for the gate. So with this one, we'll come here. I want to stick that first one right there. All right, look at that, perfect. I probably should drill pilot holes in that, make it a little bit easier, but we're already committed at this point. Let's see, oh, sorry, we get our other hinge. We'll do it the same way. So this hinge will install in the same direction, or in the same manner. All right, now let's see what happens when we unload the shims and we load the hinges. Now, there we go, check it out. So if you come over here, so we gapped it just about right. So our sag has us pretty even. It's a little bit off, but it's not bad. So we're going to, we'll put this gate latch, this little automatic gate latch we have on here, as the final piece of the product. And then boom, we have ourselves a garden gate fence install. Now typically I like to take and install the strike first when I'm setting these up. So we'll have the strike in this direction. Now these particular strikes, they get a little bit, so they will, garden will sag on you. So when you put them straight over time, these are going to bend up. So every time I install one of these latch tights, I always push it up here where I take the sag out of it. So then when I install here, when I install the latch piece, I don't have to worry about this gate sagging more. So it gives it a little bit more support over time as this sags. I'll probably will end up adding me a diagonal brace in here at some point, but for today, this is what we're gonna go with. So I'm gonna get this installed. Perfect. That's it. Boom, there we have it. So our garden fence gate install one. We still have another gate that we're gonna install on the other side, but today we got this one particular one finished. We want to thank you guys again for checking out our video. I hope it helps you when it comes to building a gate, or at least gives you some different ideas if you already know how to be a gate builder. I'm not a subject matter expert by no means, but to do a lot with what we can around here on the homestead. So check it out. We'll get you some more video of this here on our way out. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.